Hey, what's happening? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of LTBT Talk. It is Monday, May 2nd. Yes, the months go by, the years fly by, rent is due. Boom. Welcome to a thing called life. Oh, man. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. Mine was fantastic. I was out in Fresno on Friday night, headlined out there. Fantastic crowd. Thank you, everybody that came out in Fresno. Wow. Shit's happening. I keep saying it, man. It's getting better and better. Last week was La Jolla. This week was Fresno. And, man, just great to see butts in the seats. And great to make people laugh. Thank you so much. What a fucking night that was. And then Saturday night, just a crushing night at the Comedy Magic in Hermosa. And one of my favorite nights ever at the Comedy Store, Saturday at the in the main room. Fucking crusher line. It was like Eric Griffin, Jeselnik, D'Elia, Bill Burr, Sam Tripoli, myself. Just an insane, Melissa Villasenora. Who else was on that? Byron Bowers. Just this electric, cool, diverse lineup and just a kick-ass crowd. Sold out in there. Everybody just fucking living their lives, having a great time on a Saturday night. Nothing better than that. So, yeah, great weekend. Hope everybody's doing good. It's a great guest today. I'll just get into a little bit of a conversation about that for a minute. Margaret Cho. Amazing. I didn't know this woman at all, and I want to give a shout out to a few different people. Roger Rocha, the Roach, my man from ex-guitar player from Four Non Blondes, and Billy Rowe, a few other people that made this interview happen. I love when stuff comes together like this. A couple emails here and there over a couple years, and boom, you get the guest. And I always believe that you get the guests at certain times in your life, or not you guys, but me. Like I reach out to a guest and maybe I don't get them then, and I get them a year or 6 months later, and I'm like, wow, this was perfect timing for that. And that's what happened with Margaret Cho. Fantastic timing, because she had just done Comedians in Cars with Seinfeld while she was off the road here for a little bit. Last week, I guess she shot it, and she talks all about it and about this thing that her and Jerry did. She had recently bombed at a show in Jersey, and they went back to that club and that audience and did another show for them. And she talks all about that in this episode, and it's got to be the first time ever done. I've never heard of this being done, and let me tell you, it's pretty fucking cool. Because anybody out there that's a comedian, when they bomb, they don't ever want to see that venue or the audience again, usually, for a while at least. They're like, oh my God. They run out of the club, get to the hotel or their house, and sometimes people drink it away or eat it away, eat away the blues. Or smoke it away, or snort it, or whatever they do to deal with the bummer of bombing. A lot of times I say, I'm not afraid to bomb, and I'm not really afraid to bomb in a way of, I always think it doesn't fuck with me. I say that to myself, and then if something happens and I bomb, I go home and it fucks with me. I'm not afraid of it. I I look at it as like, what the fuck happened? And I learn a lot from it. And the more that you stare the bombing in the face, maybe listen to the set that you recorded, if you recorded it. I record every set. Listen to it. It's going to be painful. You're going to relive it, but you listen to it and you go, oh, I see what's going on here. Hopefully you see what's going on there. So it was amazing to hear Margaret Cho describe what happened on this night. And we're talking about a person who's been doing comedy since she was 14 years old. She's 30 years in doing comedy. Can you imagine whatever you did at 14 years old, you would be doing it right now still? 14 years old? Fuck, I was riding a BMX bike around the neighborhood, donkey kicking trash cans and throwing fucking M80s. You know? I wasn't thinking about doing comedy, but I was probably thinking about doing rock, playing rock. You know? I loved comedy at 14 years old, and like I always said, I would have done it at 14 if I knew how I could get into it. But that's an amazing, amazing accomplishment to be in the biz almost all your life. Margaret Cho is just fantastic guest. From San Francisco, we talk some fucking music. This woman knows music. She loves music, and she loves all kinds of music. So that is badass. You're going to love listening to this. And after, seek out everything about her. If you've never listened to Margaret Cho, or maybe you're a big fan of hers or whatever, spread the word. Follow her on Twitter and Instagram, and show her some love. It was so nice of her to do this show. She let me come up to her house last week and record the episode. So thank you, Margaret Cho. You are awesome. I want to just say a few things before we get into the episode. I got some shows coming up. This Wednesday, if you live in Santa Ana, I'm going to be doing the Underground DTSA. You can find the website at underground-dtsa.com. I'm going to be headlining. That's Wednesday night, Santa Ana, 8 p.m. Tickets are $10. Also, there's a flyer on my Instagram and Twitter. Come out, Santa Ana. Let's have some fun Wednesday night. And what else do I have coming up? Of course, I've got Reno, May 17th through the 22nd, Laugh Factory at the Silver Legacy. That's coming up. And, I wanted to give a shout out here. If you live in L.A., my favorite band, Mother Hips, is playing the Troubadour on May 27th. Do not miss this show. I will be there. I'm actually going to take the night off and go watch the Mother Hips, and I cannot wait. What else here? Of course, got Denver coming up. That's going to be 5 nights. June 28th through July 2nd, Comedy Works. Come out, spread the word. If you live anywhere in Denver, Boulder area, tell your friends, let's party and have some fun. That's about it right now as far as the shows, I believe. Oh, one last thing. If you are in LA, go see At the Drive-In June 1st and 2nd at the Palladium, and third and four, I believe, at the Warfield. Anyway, just some love out to bands that I love. Thank you, everybody, for leaving reviews. It's been great fucking last couple months. We are up to number 573 reviews. Trying to make it to 1,000 on iTunes reviews. So it's easy. Pop on there, subscribe, leave a review. And also, I want to give a shout out to a guy who left a donation, a PayPal donation. Let me get that together real quick. I want to give him some glory on the episode here. Let me get his name for you. It is Larry Boucher. Thank you, Larry Boucher, for the donation on PayPal. That was so fucking cool. And if you do want to donate or support the show, you can also hit patreon.com/Dean Del Rey. Love you guys. Keep the candles lit. Let's get into this Margaret Cho. All right, here we are, another episode of Let There Be Talk. Fantastic guest. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Margaret Cho.
And we're at your house, right?
Yes.
How long have you lived here?
I think since like 2000, 1999, 2000, something like that.
It's so funny when I saw the... I don't want to give away the street because but I thought of the Oakwood Apartments.
Oh yeah, because that's where like people usually like go if they're like it's all full of actors during pilot season.
Yeah.
Or if anybody gets a job and they don't live here, and so it's like a very the scene of a lot of misadventures.
Yeah, debauchery.
Yeah.
I met Nirvana stayed at the Oakwood during recording Nevermind, and they called it the Cokewood.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Right.
That's probably a good name for it.
This place is cool, man. Who
you.
painted all that? Like the rooms are all different colors. It's like I always want people to paint my place, and I can never find anybody. They're always like, yeah, I don't know what you mean.
Well, this is a special artist. His name is Devin Paulson, and he is a friend of mine. And he's a painter and a sculptor, and so he treated the house like it was, a work of art, which is what it is.
Yeah. What year was this? What is this place? It's like an old, what is it?
It's 1928. House was remodeled several times, but it was the first large house in this region.
Yeah.
And so it was sort of all kind of, I guess, hills. And it was, I think, a guy that worked for Bell Labs.
Oh, wow.
In the 20s. And he made some money, and so he built this. And so over the years, it's been changed and altered. It's sort of a Mediterranean, sort of Spanish a fake Mediterranean.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It is cool, man. I like it, and the area is amazing.
Yeah.
Super quiet.
Yeah.
Now, I've never met you.
I know.
I'm a comedian.
I know.
Yeah, you're from San Francisco.
Yes. It's weird that we never met.
Because I've only been doing comedy like 6.5 years.
Yeah.
Before that, I played music.
Yeah, but through music and comedy, I'm sort of around both scenes a lot. So.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe we did, and I was just high or something, like the Bammies or something. You know what I mean?
Oh, I love the Babbies.
Yeah, me too, right?
It's a good chance to see Fee Waybill.
Yeah, right. The Tubes. I love the Tubes.
I love the Tubes. I want to cover Talk to You Later.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
The guitars are so clean.
Yeah.
That production is just so clean, and I love the song, and I think it's just beautiful.
It's amazing to think of what they started as and what they ended up as. They're just like full blown like art rock.
Yeah.
Almost kind of a Zappa-esque thing.
Yeah.
Costumes, semi-Devo, crazy. And then they get the hits going later, and they're like a normal band.
Yeah, like power pop.
Yeah, it was that Huey Lewis in the News era.
Right.
Sports was out, and then you had like
the
Eric
Outfield.
Martin. You had, that kind of stuff in the Bay,
Yeah.
It really has so many flavors. You had the hippie stuff early on. You had metal with Metallica and Exodus and all that. And then you had that kind of stuff, which was huge.
Similar trajectory to Journey. Also, which was a kind of more prog rock, more like sort of psychedelic.
Yeah, early Journey's incredible.
Yeah.
Where there's no Steve Perry, and it's just straight up the Santana guys, just playing like straight prog rock.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
I love that
Greg
stuff
Raleigh's
too.
amazing.
So beautiful.
You grew up in the Bay Area. What music scenes were you hanging out? Did you ever go to the Stone or anything?
Yeah. And the Mab. Well, I think I was like the Mab at the very end, kind of there.
Ness, did you ever meet Ness, the guy that owned it?
No.
Oh man, he's wild. You get out.
That's a trippy place, though.
It was, and then above it was Rock on Broadway,
right?
And
The
Yeah,
Kabuki. Remember when that was a
Kabuki.
rock venue?
That was a great venue.
Wolfgang's and what was the old Waldorf?
Old Waldorf was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always talk about Old Waldorf. Wolfgang's is now, of course, Cobb's.
Right.
Which is wild to think about.
It's huge, yeah. It's
What
different.
neighborhood did you grow up in?
I grew up on 20th Avenue between Irving and Judah.
Oh, wow.
So mid Sunset, not inner. I guess it's inner Sunset, sort of. But think of inner Sunset, sort of 9th Avenue Records and
Yeah.
that area. But I was just off of the N.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. The N Judah.
This is my bus in the 28.
I used to always make jokes of like whenever I do San Fernando, I rode the N Judah here. It's such a great inside joke.
I know.
It's funny too because now you can just sneak on Muni. Like,
Yeah.
you know, they have some passes, I guess, and you just get on in the back door. I never even pay ever. Just ride it around.
Is it sort of on the honor system?
Yeah, well, you have like a badge, and you just get on in the back and swipe the badge, but the guy's not looking.
Yeah.
You know. You ever do the Fillmore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In different capacities. I've played the Fillmore. I don't think I've done like a comedy show there. I sang with Oza Motley.
Oh yeah, Oza Motley. My buddy plays drums in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
It's Jiro?
He played drums in the Wallflowers, Mario.
Oh, okay.
And then he joined about 10 years ago. I don't know if he's still in, but he was in for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was in Oza Motley after Wallflowers.
Yeah, they're incredible. So I sang with them there, and then they did my homeless outreach, and they came across the street to that bar that's right across from what's the one?
Oh, Boom Boom Room. Yeah, the blues joint.
Yeah, so they came, they did their show, and then they came and played it because it was the same night. So we did like a homeless outreach. So they did my show and then their two shows because they have a show in the daytime. It's a children's show.
Yeah.
So it's like all kids music, which is so cool. And then they have their nighttime huge like rock show. But it's so generous of them. They're really political.
Yeah.
And they're good friends of ours.
Yeah, the Bay Area, man. Of course, I grew up there. I love it. But I miss it. But I miss the old Bay Area. It's so terrible now.
It's different now.
Yeah, with the techies and everything.
Yeah.
It's weird because it really it ate shit during the 90s, during the .com. Mm-hmm. You know, you lost the Paradise Lounge.
Yeah.
You lost all that South the Market cool vibe and everything. And because landlords were greedy.
Yeah.
Here's money, leave, and then that crashed. And I was like, all right, it's back.
Yeah.
Starting to come back cool, and then it's back worse than ever.
Well, it's just that the people there have they have to pay so much rent. Like all
Totally.
the prices of everything is so high.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so it's pushed out a lot of like the art and the weirdos.
Yeah, well, that's what when I was growing up in the city, and you too. I'm 50, and no one wanted to live in the city. It was a blue-collar town. People wanted to live in Walnut Creek and Mill Valley.
Yeah.
And so it was just this heaven of like a $250 apartment.
I know.
And $2 burritos and $3 Heinekens,
Yeah.
and Night Break and Sushi Sunday and all
Night
that.
Break.
I-Beam and,
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It just had so much. And Rock and Bowl, which is
Oh, yeah,
Amoeba.
yeah.
Oh, God, remember that? That guy was great.
That was
That
was a great thing.
that whole San Fran in the 70s and 80s and early 90s is a spectacular city.
Right.
It had so much soul, no fast food. They only had Jack in the Box and McDonald's in the whole city. So you just ate at, neighborhood restaurants and...
What was the record store that was on Haight and Ashbury that was across, it became a Gap, but it was across the street from Aardvark's, Aardvark. And it was a big record store.
I don't know. I know the Recycle Records or whatever. What's that one there? It's still there.
Yeah. This was different. It was just that on that corner, it became a Gap.
Yeah,
And
I
then-
know that Gap, but I don't remember what was there.
I forgot. But I remember that was like that and like 9th Avenue Records were like where I would buy albums. And it was just a big deal. But I loved all that like those bands like Translator and
the Nuns.
The Nuns.
What about of course like Dead Kennedys and all that scene?
Yeah.
There was so many scenes in the city.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. Like you got like And they were different neighborhood scenes. Like you would have the Night Break and the I-Beam would be those bands up there, like Sea Hags and stuff like that.
The Sea
Yeah, right? Ron Yoke of Sea Hags and all that. And then you would have the Stone and all that, and that was rock and kind of Dead and stuff. And then you would have like the Farm. You remember that?
The Farm. Yeah, totally.
Totally. The punk rock Paul Rat and shit. So the music, it's
the
so
music
rich
was so
there.
good.
Yeah.
I remember just going to see like. I went to a Fishbone. I was like a Fishbone, like a ska thing.
Fishbone.
And the Uptones.
Yeah, the Uptones.
And Hobo. All
What
those
about
other
Curveball, that solo, that cover band that just did like soul songs? Do you ever see them?
Oh, I didn't see
I think
them.
it was some guys from like Fishbone, but yeah.
Yeah.
That Fishbone was amazing.
They were incredible.
Primus.
Oh, I love Primus.
Look at all the music in the Bay Area. It's crazy, right? Faith No More.
Yeah, Faith No More. Then there was like, the whole like Chris Isaac, who was my good friends, and that whole thing too, like sort of rockabilly, but
yeah, Wicked Game. Kenny on drums.
Oh, Kenny!
What
I
a
love
vibe
Kenny.
those two had, huh? And
Kenny's
Isaac just
great.
living out in the avenues and surfing and all that.
Yeah.
And then Metallica lived in town too, you know. So you had like all these guys you would see out. It wasn't rock star style at all.
I know.
And then you'd go to the Bammies. And Robin Williams would be there, and you know, and it'd be wild.
So great.
I know.
Jane Dornacker before she died.
Yeah.
Jane Dornacker. All that.
Yeah. I was around in the 80s when the first comedy boom happened. And of course, I've only been doing comedy 6.5 years, but I remember how big that was. You know? It was Carrie Snow, Bobby Slayton, that morning thing, and
Alex Bennett.
Alex Bennett, you know, his show. And there was comedy at every fucking corner in town, you know. But I remember when Bobcat came to town, he exploded. He blew doors off everything. You remember that?
Yeah.
Were you doing comedy back then?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
And that he was really important to my development as like also Paula Poundstone.
Right.
Huge, really, really important. But Bobcat, he changed it. He changed the art form because he just made it. He's sort of like with punk rock. You know, he kind of came along with this sort of idea of like new kind of comedy that was very confrontational and really exciting.
Yeah.
He was so good.
I couldn't believe it, actually. You know, like the word on the street was like he was homeless and schizophrenic. Recently, I found out, I was talking to Bobcat, but I didn't even know. My buddy, I think it was Marin or someone, told me he developed that in Boston. Like he just walked in one day in a club and had a Cub Scout outfit on and just started doing that character and then moved to San Fran. But I thought for real he was a homeless guy that kind of kept it together and did comedy because it was radical and it felt real.
I know. It felt so authentic, and he just looked so different.
Oh, God, yeah, right?
And but he's a really good friend of mine now, and he's just developed into such a tremendous entertainer. Like makes beautiful films, and you know, he's just
Shakes the Clown,
insanely talented.
The Bigfoot one, and of course later on he worked on Jimmy Kimmel and got that thing going because that thing was kind of tanking, I think, and he brought music in and everything and directed that show for a long time.
Yeah, he's so great.
Yeah, he is great. He lives in town now, too, which is cool. I remember that whole scene. It was out of control. I remember Tree won the...
Tree!
Tree.
I love Tree.
Right?
I used to open for Tree.
He was such a killer, man.
He was great.
And he won that San Francisco Comedy Festival at the time was so prestigious. If you won it, you were on your way. And he won it and was just, he was everywhere, you know, for a while. I don't know. Does he still do comedy, you know?
I don't know. I'm Facebook friends with a lot of those comics, and I don't know if I haven't seen him do a show, but then that doesn't mean he's still not performing. Right. So, but he was great.
He was great,
He was a sweet guy, too.
So early on, I feel like I'm a lot like you. Like you love music, and you did comedy. With me, I was a kid in the Bay Area, and there was no kids doing comedy, and I wanted to do comedy. I loved Richard Pryor. I loved Cheech and Chong.
Yeah.
And then, of course, later on, I got heavily into Dice and Kinnison and Bobcat.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to do comedy, but in high school, there wasn't kids doing comedy. Now there are. There's YouTube and schools and camps. But the neighbors were playing music, and I started playing music, and boom, 25 years went by.
Right.
How did you start doing comedy at a young age? Did you just go? Because I didn't understand. You just go to open mics and stuff.
Well, I was in a comedy duo. So I was with Sam Rockwell, who's a very famous actor now. He and I would do sets together at the other cafe. Our teacher from School of the Arts signed us up for open mics.
Right.
And so from then, and then he had to move to New York with his mom. So then I just kept doing it. I mean, we just got weirdly lucky, and I was so different that people really encouraged me to be on their shows and got me work, and I got to open for different people. But it was very, I don't know, I was welcomed into it very quickly.
Yeah, that's cool. I read somewhere that you're into Bill Hicks. I love Bill Hicks.
I love Bill.
Did you see him live?
Yeah, I used to open for Bill.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Bill taught me a lot about comedy, and he used to write he would write extemporaneously on stage. He would go on with an idea and use that adrenaline to flesh out his joke. He was
right
such a genius. Yeah, and so he brought his own microphone because he always ate the mic. He would always put his mouth down the mic. So he brought his own, so he wouldn't have other comics wouldn't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I remember he would bring his whole he had his own specific mic they would bring in, and every night, and I opened for him several times over the years, probably mostly at the Punchline in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But he was a genius.
Oh God, yeah. Who else were you into at the time?
I love Dexter Madison. He was somebody also that won that big comedy thing. I love Warren Thomas,
right?
Another guy who won. Paula Poundstone was really very influential.
Right.
I mean, Paula was incredible. I opened for her. I also opened for Destiny. If she was kind of doing comedy out there. There's not that many women out there. I love Marsha Warfield. I think she's kind of coming back in a bigger way.
Wow, that's cool.
She's really, really cool and really funny. But I was really lucky because I was able to open for people. I opened for Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah. I wanted to get into that.
Yeah, he was very influential and very, till now, very great.
How did you start working with him? Because this is pre-Seinfeld, right?
No, this was during
Seinfeld?
The Seinfeld Diaries, which was the precursor to Seinfeld.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
it was they reworked it. And then it became the show that we know. But at that time, it was the Seinfeld Diaries. And he had just started that. And I was in a contest that I lied my way into this comedy contest for college students because I wasn't in school.
Yeah.
And so I won the opportunity to open for him.
Wow, Sully McCullough just did my podcast yesterday.
Yeah.
And he did the same thing at UCLA. He won a contest to open for him there.
Yeah.
I think Jerry, for me, was really changed the game for me,
Yeah.
because I'm way into Kinnison and Dice and Bobcat, but they're characters and personas, and where Jerry just felt like a guy like your teacher that walked on and just destroyed with these insane jokes. And I became obsessed and saw him 8 times. Circle Star Theater.
Oh yeah.
Remember that place?
Yeah, I love that place.
Yeah. I go to Vegas to see him, Tahoe, and then, of course, Marin Civic.
Yeah.
I would see him all over, and he was just unbelievable, you know? The reason I wanted to talk about Jerry was I read recently that you bombed somewhere, and he's going to host the night, invite the people back, and you're going to perform for them again. 2 things were amazing to me in that you bombed, because I could see where you some jokes don't work, but at your time in your career, how did you bomb, and explain the night and what's going on?
It was late night. I was really jet lagged, and I was just tired, and was on stage, and the audience.
And where was it?
New Jersey. They were talking, and I.
The whole crowd?
Yeah.
Now they paid to see you,
I know.
right? Now, is this a theater or a club?
It's
Because
a club.
you do theaters too,
Yeah.
right? You just did the Will Turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was, I just got furious. I mean, it was just a bunch of different things, but I got really, really angry. And so, I whenever I bomb, I don't bomb normally. Like, I make it like they want to kill me.
Right.
And so.
Because you just start yelling at them and stuff, you
Well,
mean?
it's a combination of things. But it's like I just really get angry, and this has only happened like maybe 5 times in 30 years.
Yeah.
So and the aftermath of it was that people were so angry at the club and said they weren't going to go back, and I felt like this is wrong because this is a standalone comedy club. It's owned by a comic.
Yeah.
This is a very important kind of place it's like a dojo.
Yeah, you need that. Like the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
It's not a chain.
No.
It's not a bunch of improvs or zanies or anything. I get what you're saying. It's a guy, it's his heartfelt business.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, well, why don't I just go back and I'll do a makeup show and we can talk about what happened because I won't be angry then. Yeah. And so I was doing Comedians in Cars and I was telling Jerry about it, and he was so excited.
Yeah.
Like he was like, "Oh, I want to see this. I want that's never happened." I go, "I know that. I don't think this has ever happened anytime." And so he came and we did it last Thursday, and we did a little discussion with the audience.
Yeah. And now, how did they get the exact guys back?
Well, that club, it's such a, they had everybody's like information,
Emails.
their mailing list. And so they sort of were able to get people that were there.
Right.
And since it's a small community club, everybody knows who's there, it's like one of those really cool, like neighborhoody places. So they got, a small part of the audience back just for the discussion, which was about, it's small, like 30 people. And we just talked about it. And, I think it was really healing, because they were explaining to me how they felt, and I was able to explain how I felt, and we got to talk about it. So that's all going to be on an episode of Comedians in Cars coming up. But it was
insane.
really cool.
And Seinfeld was there, like hosting the chat, right?
Yeah, he was moderating,
Right.
and then he opened for me, which is so incredible. So I love him. He got a standing ovation for 15 minutes, and it was so cool.
Wow.
I love him. So we all got standing ovations all around, but he was just so, he's always been very, very supportive. Like if I do a special, he'll write me a letter, on his special stationery, his Seinfeld stationery.
Yeah.
And sort of all the jokes that he liked and what it was that he got out of it. And he's always been so on my side, sort of very supportive for 30 some years.
Yeah.
So I really love him.
I want to be on Comedians in Cars as like a newer comic.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be totally interesting.
Yeah.
Of like, riding around with him, and he's like, "What's it like now?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think it'd be really cool.
That would be
and
cool.
Plus, I grew up on him and
Yeah.
worshipped him. I'm nothing like his comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I just loved his work ethic and his joke writing and everything.
Yeah.
I still remember a joke he did about why do we worry about leather jackets in the rain? Cows grow up outside. They never go like, "It's raining, get us inside the barn." I laugh so hard on that joke. It's so simple and clean,
Yeah.
But I guess because I love leather jackets, and I just like, yeah.
He's like a philosopher almost. Like his jokes are like mathematically perfect.
Yeah.
That's what I admire, is that it's just the geometry of his joke writing is truly tremendous.
I saw him on that, I think it was Showtime or HBO. It was Louis, Ricky Gervais, Chris Rock, Seinfeld, and there was like a circle, and they talked for an hour.
Yeah.
And Seinfeld's like, "Yeah, man, I can't believe you guys just write an hour in a year and you're leaving laughs on the table. I tooled jokes for years." And I watched that comedian documentary, and I love that,
Yeah.
But I could never do that. Does this happen to you? I get bored with jokes after about 6 months because I go on like 3-4 times a night. So it seems like I've been doing them for years, but I've only been doing them 6 months. Does that happen to you?
Oh, yeah. But then you want to like change it up or move things around and add things to it. So I get totally bored with things, so I just switch things up every day
Right.
if I can. But it's something that you should still like work on things. Like you can continue to work on them. You can like leave them for a while and then come back. But for me it's very easy to get bored.
Yeah, right. And then once you're bored of it, it doesn't work anymore. You ever notice that? Your biggest closer will just eat dicks all of a sudden. You're like, wow, this isn't working at all anymore.
You got to feel it. It's like being an actor. You have to have the emotion behind it.
Now, when you're at that club and you do the Q&A, what was the actual... what was the thought of them? Did they just think you were mean? What did they say?
Well, they were not understand. So I also repeated jokes. That's the thing, which is the word. I hate doing that, but I do that sometimes when I do multiple shows and I'm trying to work extemporaneously. You sometimes will repeat a joke because I'm like, I'm not sure where I am. And they were like talking.
That's the worst.
And I was like, I had to keep starting over. And that's what I think upset them because I kept repeating, but I was so confused.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing Al Magical early on when I was doing comedy. And he exploded on some talkers one time. And I thought, man, I would never do that, you know? And now I will do that.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard for the people, and mostly women that are there like, yeah, it's me, like if they're not getting attention. And some guys, but it's mostly girls that get bored, and they just start texting or whatever. And I'll explode on them. And it's tough not to do, right? Because you love doing this art so much. My whole day is geared around, okay, I can't wait to go on. And then someone fucks it up because they're being assholes.
Yeah. I can't, I don't know. I can't predict what it's going to be. Sometimes if it's like, if I'm really good, I can really make the heckler or talker or whatever part of the show.
Yeah.
And it can be actually very worthwhile. And that's what Paula Poundstone was very good at doing. She was able to incorporate everything happening, whether it was positive or negative, and make it pay off for her.
Same with Dave Attell.
Oh, Dave's the best.
He's a genius at that.
Yeah.
He'll just grab a guy and just rip the shit out of him, but in almost a friendly way, where people are all laughing, even the guys laughing,
Mm-hmm.
But it is tough. I gotta push that down, Mm-hmm.
It's hard.
Yeah. What was the car you were in with Jerry?
It was a Mazda Cosmo.
A what?
A Mazda Cosmo.
What is that?
It's a 60s sports car. It's I guess I think there were not that many made, but it's very like slick. It's cool. It had like a houndstooth interior.
Oh, love it.
It's from the 60s. It's so beautiful.
Wow. Now we were over at Gary Shandling's memorial on Sunday.
I was there.
Yeah, I was there too. Mm-hmm. And what a beautiful memorial, right? Yeah. I don't like to go to memorials or funerals. They eat me alive, I went to one and I was like, oh, that's it. But I'm so glad I went to this because I went by myself. And I loved Gary growing up, the Larry Sanders Show, and of course, anytime he was on Carson and all that.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful thing, right?
It was really nice.
Man.
It was really nice.
It was amazing. I don't think I cried and laughed that much ever.
Yeah.
Like one minute you're crying, the next minute you're laughing your ass off.
I know. He was so funny. And it's just, I feel such a loss, even though I didn't know him well.
Right.
I mean, I knew him, but it was just so devastating. I had never expected it. I never thought, it just, I feel great emptiness when I think about it.
Well, I just loved, I started comedy at 44, and all my friends were kind of long gone, married and with children, and they're just in a different world. And there I was in L.A., I played music all my life, and then I was just kind of like, like in LA it can be weird at that point.
Yeah.
You're like a 44-year-old, it's a young town, people are going out partying, and I'm like, what do I do? So when I started comedy, I just love this family of friends that I have now, and it's just a whole new life for me. And in there, it just felt amazing how much love people had for him, know? And Judd put together just a fantastic memorial.
Yeah, it was really beautiful.
It was. Let's talk a little bit about. Oh, I read somewhere. Is this real? You were a a porn operator at 15.
Yeah. A phone sex operator.
Yeah. But how did you get this gig?
It was a friend of this girl that I knew who was running it, and then I got promoted to doing recorded messages. So I guess I had good diction or something. I sounded white.
Yeah.
So I did this thing called Hot Girls USA, where it was for people learning English. And so I was doing like the sexual fantasies, but very, very kind of simple sentence structure in order to help them understand how to complete a sentence and get off. I don't know. But yeah, that was my... that was my childhood, I guess.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, was that weird to you? Like, did they give you stuff to read or?
No, we would write out, like, I am blonde, I have large breasts, I want to come. I enjoy your penis. Like, it was very...
wow. Yeah, it was almost like... right?
ESL. English is a second language.
Wow.
So that I just wrote them out, and then I would go in and record them. Sometimes they would give us props like lollipops, so we could make like a wet mouth sound. But it was it was very weird because I also worked at FAO Schwartz too. The toy store.
Yeah, the toy store.
So I was the Raggedy Ann at the toy store. So I would go, I would get in my Raggedy Ann like makeup and outfit. And then I would go to the phone sex thing. And then I would go to the Raggedy Ann thing. And then I sometimes would come back to the phone sex thing. And it just looked so weird.
That's so San Francisco.
It's so San Francisco.
So San Francisco. Now, did your parents know you were doing that?
No. I was just doing comedy then and trying to figure out how to
You were doing
live.
comedy at 15?
Mm-hmm. At 14.
Wow.
I was still trying to figure out how I'm going to devote my life to comedy. So I had all these weird day jobs. And I also worked at Stormy Leather.
Oh, yeah, Stormy Leather.
Yeah. I opened their retail store for them and I helped them out for years.
Wow.
So that was a big job for me.
That's amazing. I really feel San Francisco has a look also, don't you think? Like back then, there's a lot of that kind of pre-Nine Inch Nails, but it was a lot of bondage look.
Yeah.
A lot of... Hard On Leathers was a store I went to, and also in the Castro, just amazing, crazy leather stores and stuff, and early piercings and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the time Lollapalooza and the frat guy caught on to it, it was long over, Hey, check out my tribal bars and a couple piercings. I was like, 79.
Yeah.
Saw it,
Yeah, that's that era. My dad had a bookstore in Polk, California. So he owned Paperback Traffic. And so that's when Ed Hardy would put out Tattoo Time.
Yeah.
And all those research books.
Oh, yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, we sold all those in the late 70s, early 80s, all the stuff about the modern primitives.
Oh, yeah.
And everything. And that influenced me a lot for my own tattooing. I went to Ed Hardy for my first tattoos, and I always knew that I would be completely tattooed.
Are you completely covered?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I never even seen him. That's wild. Who did all your work?
Ed Hardy did the big stomach and back pieces on me, and then I have...
did he go to Hawaii to get it done? He moved to Hawaii later, right?
Yeah, I did it when he was still in the marina.
Oh,
not the marina, North Beach.
Yeah, North Beach, right there
Tattoo
by Cops.
City. Yeah. So I got it done there, and then I have a lot of, Mr. Cartoon. I have
Mr. Cartoon, dope.
Yeah, Chris O'Donnell, Kat Von D, Nate Costecco, Spencer Briggs.
Wow.
Craig Jackman did a really good amount of my work, too.
You got any Nico Hurtado? You know him?
Yeah, he's great.
Oh, yeah, he did this Bon Scott.
Oh, my God, that's beautiful.
All right.
He's so good.
He's the best.
That's a horrible place to get tattooed.
Oh, it was absolutely the worst, man.
I hate ribs, and I hate anything that's near your organs.
I couldn't believe it because he started, and I was like, that spot kind of fucking sucks. Maybe go somewhere else for right now because he's just starting, and it was like noon, and he goes, oh, this whole area sucks.
It sucks.
And you know what? I'm covered. And I couldn't believe how bad that fucking hurt.
Yeah.
I was actually getting like waves of almost like pass out.
Yeah, yeah.
Of just like, whoa.
Yeah, it's intense.
It really is.
It really is. Like anybody that has sort of ribs or side or anything like that, I'm just like, that's dedication.
It's crazy, man. And you have no idea because, like, when you get your arms done, you're like, this is nothing. I remember my first one. He's like, all right, you go. Henry Goldfield did it next door to the Stone.
Okay, yeah.
He was an old cat.
Yeah.
He was like, it was him, Bill Salmon.
Yeah, I love
and
Bill.
Ed Hardy. Yeah,
I
all
love Bill.
three of those guys were the kings of tattooing back in the day. Way before all these. Now it's a whole nother level. Like this picture on the side of my. You never thought you could get that back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, so I sit down and he goes, you ready? And I go, yeah. And I remember my armpits were just sweating like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And he started and I went, that's it? And he goes, yeah. And I go, oh, fucking pound away. You know what I mean? It was like nothing.
Yeah.
You know? Sam Fran also on another thing was way on that trip early on, like Fakir. You know,
Fakir.
All this stuff, you know, and the tattooing and the piercing. I feel so lucky to have grown up in the city, don't you think?
Yeah, to be exposed to all of that and to have like this, it's just, you know, that experience, like early 80s, San Francisco was just so like wildly creative in terms of like body modification and music, and there's so much happening. But yeah, we were lucky to be there.
Yeah, we were, man. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And at parts of me, I think San Fran needs a good fucking earthquake. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
Just shake those techies out of there.
Yeah, yeah.
I think on the next earthquake, like if I was at your level and I knew I could just tour and stuff, and the next earthquake happened, I would buy something immediately, and then I would be there the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Get in. My buddy got in on pennies on the dollar on the 89 quake. He just goes, I'll buy all of the marina.
Oh, wow.
And he bought like all of it, you know,
That's
and now he's a
great.
gazillionaire.
That's so smart.
Yeah, because that shit was on sand, everything dropped and lit on fire. But, you know, I really do miss that city a lot. I love LA because it's so alive. That's one thing about the city that kind of sucked was you had a certain amount of people that were into going out and stuff, and the rest would just go to bed at like 11 and work.
Yeah.
Because it was a blue-collar city.
Right, exactly,
you know?
exactly.
So, you know, I miss that. But, you know, if we went back, it would never be the same.
No, and it's just like the music now too is different. It's just all very, very. It's just different.
It's all EDM.
Yeah, which is I like it to some extent, but I don't really know like that much about it. I mean, I always love the spirit of anybody who makes music, but I can't get it. Doesn't rock me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like physically. I need to get a physical reaction from the music that I listen to.
Well, there's nothing you're looking at, I think, is one of the problems with me is the guy's just standing there.
Yeah.
Where with bands, you really get that electricity of the dudes on stage, and it's a push-pull kind of thing, you know? When one guy steps forward and starts soloing, you're like, oh, yeah, you know?
It's magical.
Or the singer's running around, you know?
Yeah.
All right! Right?
It's really the majesty of rock is what I need out of a show, you know?
Who are some of your favorites?
God, there's so many. I mean, I think for my writing and as a musician, probably Garrison Starr, who I wrote a record with, just it's coming out on April 29th called American Myth. Right. So she and I wrote a lot together, and I've been a fan of hers forever. I learned a lot from Andrew Bird. I love his new record. I love John Bryan. He's sort of my teacher too. So he sort of taught me a lot about playing, and he taught me chords. Like I told him what chords I knew, and then he wrote a song with those chords. Wow. And so like he just taught me how to make a B7.
Yeah, right.
Which is pretty amazing. So
well, once you get in, you're on the standard chords of E, G, C, D, and stuff. Then once you get into minors and all these configurations, you go, oh, this is Beatles. You know what I mean? John Bryan really understands some of those diminished chords and all that stuff that all of a sudden creates Beatles sounding flavors and stuff like that.
Right.
I love that stuff. You also worked with the famous '80s songwriter. What?
Oh, Desmond Child.
Yeah, Desmond Child.
Yeah, Desmond's great.
Yeah, right. That guy wrote good monster hits for like Kiss and Bon Jovi, all
and
that.
Joan Jett.
Yeah,
and, he's great. I did. Yeah, that was like the first time that I was in the studio. I did those guys from Sweden who make a bunch of like pop songs for Britney.
Yep.
They had done a song for Britney that she didn't record, so I took the cast off and I recorded it. And we did it at the record plant here.
Oh, great.
Which is crazy, so nice. And it took a long time because when you work with a producer like that, they will make you sing it and sing it and sing it. It's just they hear the right one, and if you don't get there, and John Bryan is the same way too. He's like demanding of it's got to sound right to his ear.
Yeah, I've worked with producers where they're like flat, sharp, flat.
Yeah.
And while you're singing, I don't hear it.
Yeah.
Because your ears get droned from headphones. Mm-hmm. And after a while, and instruments fluctuate. Mm-hmm. And tuning is how hard a guy hits the guitar strings. It makes them bounce, and your head will hear the vibrations weird, and you'll be singing weird. Now, people just go in and they run through it. They're like, skinny, bop, bop, I'm out of here. And then the guy just auto-tunes it, and they're out of there, which is insane. But yeah, back in the day, man, you'd be in the booth hours.
Forever.
Then your voice starts to get a little raw. It starts sounding different.
And better sometimes.
Yeah, better sometimes. But there's so many weird things. Like a producer will be like, the character's different now in the second verse.
Yeah.
The character. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I know.
You hear it later and you go, he's right. You know?
I understand.
It's funny because I listen to some of my records from back in the day, and I can hear some flat stuff. And because after a while, I just start going crazy. Like, dude, we're missing the feel here.
Right.
Let's just get the feel.
Right.
You know, it's,
I know.
Punk rock. I was never punk rock, but they're like all over. You know, like, whatever. Yeah.
But it's I don't know. I appreciate all the different kinds of ways that people produce.
Yeah,
I'd like to do that eventually. Do you produce your own records?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
because I enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I hear, but I do like a big producer. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you get a big producer, and you're really hoping that they're going to have magic, and you're like, oh, this guy really isn't doing anything.
Yeah.
That's a trip.
Yeah.
You know?
That's also a different... I haven't had that, which is good. Everybody I've worked with has taught me a lot and added so much more that I didn't realize that was there. So that's really special. But I'd like to do more producing in my next musical ventures.
It's great. I think when you have phenomenal musicians, you need a producer less.
Yeah.
Because these guys bring so much different stuff to the table.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
I played with one guy, David Emmergluck from Counting Crows.
Oh, I love him. I know him.
Oh, yeah, he played on my
great.
record.
Yeah.
So he has so much knowledge. He hears stuff that he'll just stream through the song that you wouldn't need a producer. You go, wow, this song's way better now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So when you get guys like that, it's and they've been in the studio all their life.
Yeah.
They're next level. And they can track stuff in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, run that track again. You go, God, that's killer.
Yeah, I think he's great. And anybody from Emeryville, for some reason, that's like a weird magic city
weird, right?
for music.
What was that, Blake's? People would play Blake's up there in Berkeley, and it was all Emeryville kind of musicians.
So good.
Emeryville's such a no man's land in the Bay Area, right?
It's weird, but there was always good musicians there.
Yeah, I think because it was cheap. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, Emmergluck had a place that was like $300. You should have seen his place.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
I remember the first gig or like the second gig they did very early on. They were opening for Jellyfish.
Oh, yeah.
At the Warfield.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I got that poster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it nobody had seen them before. And then after their set, people were just mesmerized.
Yeah.
You know, and I love the Counting Crows. I think they're just genius. I think sometimes they get categorized in sort of like, I don't know what genre they are. You know?
I call them K-Fog.
It's K-Fog.
Yeah, because bands K-Fog broke were, you know, like Train, Counting Crows, Jellyfish, you know, that whole time, Wallflowers.
Yeah.
There was those bands that were played on K-Fog. Mm-hmm. And it was really, K-Fog really, they just closed, I heard.
Yeah, they switched over, so now it's I don't really know the story, but Jellyfish. I think Jellyfish probably to me was really influential. John Bryan was also briefly in Jellyfish, as is Jason Faulkner, who's a good friend of mine, who's also in that band. But I always love bands where the drummer sings.
Oh, well, Jellyfish, the Spilt Milk record, is a masterpiece.
So beautiful.
It is people like the first one, but to me, man, the second one, joining a fan club, and I saw him live 3 times.
Yeah.
I went to Fresno to see him. There was no one there.
Yeah.
Just to see him on that tour. And man, that Roger and those guys, they just
So
killed.
good.
And you couldn't believe they sang
them.
it all live.
I think my favorite is New Mistake.
Oh yeah, How about
Brighter Day?
She's my best friend. And Russian Hill.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that record. It feels
All
San
of it.
Fran, right?
It's just beautiful, and that's just Roger's amazing, and Andy's amazing. I think treasure going to see them. Like I had a big top hat and bell bottoms.
Yeah, Foreign on Bonds, another thing big at that
of
time.
course.
Same kind of Linda signed,
Perry.
She's the one that signed my band.
She's amazing.
And she was an incredible person to me, a friend. She's got an amazing studio.
I haven't been there yet, so she and I have been trying to figure out how to get there. But I've written a lot with Roger Rocha.
Oh yeah, Raj.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
He just emailed me this morning before this party. Oh yeah, he was trying to get you on the show a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He hit me up and he said, "Hey, what about Margaret?" I go, "Oh, absolutely."
He's a genius.
Yeah,
he's a musical
great.
genius. So we have. He wrote the song on my record now called "I Want to Kill My Rapist."
Yeah.
And then we have probably about 9 more tracks. So that'll be like the next phase of like recording. But he's just amazing. But yeah, Linda is how I met Andy.
Right. Wow.
So that's how we got together, was through Linda.
That I can't believe. I always Jellyfish is one of those bands I always try to turn people on to, and it's weird. Like they go, "Oh yeah," or they'll say something like "too soft for me" or whatever. I'm like, this is like genius stuff.
It's genius.
You couldn't even sit down and write this.
No, there's so much going on, and it's the musicianship. I also like the Grays too.
Oh yeah.
Which is John and Jason, and they're sort of a little bit less colorful, I guess,
right,
than Jellyfish. But the Grays were really, really special.
I wish Jellyfish would get back together.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have that record on vinyl now. I bought it. It was like $100. White vinyl, perfect mint copy. I got it on eBay.
That's nice.
What a great band.
They're
That's
incredible.
amazing. See, that's what I love about San Fran. You can meet people and they have so much depth and culture. You know what I mean? Like if you go somewhere else, you go, yeah. You try talking music, they're like, oh, I'm into this, and it'll be like one thing. And they're into this food, that music, and these movies, and that's it. Which is really bizarre to me,
Yeah.
And I think that's what you get. What's so great about growing up in the Bay Area?
Yeah.
You're just such a, like, as corny as they say, melting pot or whatever. It's just awesome.
But it is. It's awesome.
Really is.
It is a melting pot, and it is like just a place where art's like it is a big priority. But then now it's different because it's like, the tech stuff now is sort of taking over. So I don't know what it is now.
I don't either. I think it's a lot of money, and not quite sure what they spend it on. Because to me, I spend all my money on clothes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't make any money, and I'm like, I got to have this jacket. It's $1,000. I don't care.
Gotta have it.
But you walk around there, and it's a lot of cotton Dockers. It's a lot of Gap. And
I think they spend their money on tasting plates.
Yeah,
in, like
right.
Restaurants.
You're so right. They're
It's
like,
all
this
taste-
piece of cheese is $8,000. It's fantastic.
Tiny tasting plates.
It's so weird.
annoying. And
Yeah.
a hoodie.
Yeah, a hoodie, $100 hoodie.
Yeah.
That hoodie company everybody talks about.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
I saw your video for Anna Nicole Smith.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
Yes.
Where'd you shoot that at?
The Hollywood Castle. It's in Beechwood Canyon, which is under the Hollywood sign.
Oh, yeah.
Which
I lived in Beechwood 13 years.
Oh, okay. It's up on not Ledgewood, but one of those like side
I know
streets. Yeah, it's up there, and it's just magical, and it's great. We were up there with like hundreds of beautiful Anna Nicole Smith impersonators, and
That was wild.
I love doing that.
When did you first meet her?
We met in, I want to say like 2000. I had been to a party at her house and we made out.
Wow. You made out with her?
Yeah.
That is how I'm really jealous.
Well, I had stopped drinking, and then I had not drank actually for several years. And then I went there, and she had an ice sculpture of herself made where you would pour a shot of Jaeger into her mouth, and it would go down her ice body and come out her ice vagina.
No way.
So I couldn't turn it down. So I got very, very drunk.
That is such a Hollywood party.
It was a Hollywood party.
Wow.
And, it was really sad when she died. It was like really I don't even know what, I mean, the tragedy of her death was really, it was shocking and horrible. And so I wanted to write a song for her that was like Candle in the Wind.
Yeah.
Sort of a tribute.
Yeah, yeah. What a wild woman. It's very rare that type of person happens in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. No movies, nothing. You know what I'm saying? And super famous,
right?
Right. That one Angeline woman tried to do it all her life, and I still don't know what the hell that is. Do you know anything about that woman?
Well, there was an odd rumor that her financier or her sort of patron was Don Knotts, and that he was her lover, and he was paying for all of the signage.
Yeah, in the 80s, they were everywhere.
But I don't. I do believe that she is good luck. When you see her, it's very, very good luck.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes, whenever I see her, something very, very good happens.
Wow.
So I think
I gotta go seek her out.
Yeah, it's a positive sign. She's quite elusive, but
she had an art show recently where she just sold all kinds of like drawings of her and photos of her and everything. Mm-hmm. She's always got the newest vet. She already has the new vet.
Yeah,
and they're pink. And in the 80s, those billboards were everywhere.
Yeah.
And she was a knockout.
Yeah. I think she still looks great.
Absolutely.
It's very exciting. It's like she's just sort of this self-made persona or Don Knotts made persona, wherever it came from. It's genius.
Where's the documentary on her?
I don't know. It's got to be out there.
Come on. Her and that guy, Woodruff.
Dennis Woodruff.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Those two people are awesome.
I know. So amazing.
They're the old Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about like the 50s Bogart era. I'm talking about 80s where it was just like, it really felt like your dreams are going to come true here. Rock guys came and made millions. Mm-hmm. These people had careers on nothing, you know? Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about the fashion police.
Oh, yeah.
You love fashion. Right?
Well, I love fashion. I don't really know. I don't have the same outlook as a lot of like fashion magazines or whatever. I like art and I like a certain aesthetics, and so I sort of try to bring that. But I do the show because I love Joan Rivers, and that was her favorite project.
Yeah.
And I love Melissa, and so we are tight, and so it's nice for me to go into this world where it's we're all family, and it's fun to do.
Yeah. I loved Joan Rivers.
She was the best.
She was unbelievable when she used to host the Tonight Show.
I know.
I mean, it's so sad what happened to her,
It's hard. I never felt like that towards a mentor. I never really had like that direct of a mentor. Like if I did poorly or something, I would just on a show, which, very rare, but when I did bad, I could talk to her about it, or if I needed her to do a job for me, she would do the job, or if she needed something from me, we would just always be doing stuff like with each other work-wise, and she was a genius.
She was. She crushed it on Louis. That episode.
Yeah. I asked, was that hot? And she goes, no. I thought it was hot.
It was hot. She's so great.
She's the best.
I thought she was hot up until she died. I'm
beautiful.
a weirdo though. You know what I mean?
She's beautiful.
You grow up early on people you love them. You just love them for your life.
She's a wonderful woman.
I love Kelly. She's gone. right? Kelly Osbourne. That's a
No, she left the show.
Yeah.
She's lovely too. I love her.
yeah.
She's great.
I had a crush on her forever. She won't
She's
do
beautiful.
the show. Trying to get her on the show.
Oh, she should.
I
She's
know.
rock royalty.
I know. And I always thought she was hot.
She's beautiful.
Yeah.
She's like perfect, like English rose, like beauty.
Yeah.
You know, that she's really she's really smart about like fashion too.
Yep.
I think she does a lot more like fashion stuff, and I think she's really a lovely girl.
Yeah, she's great. I love fashion. I like rock fashion.
Yeah.
I think that it's just as much part of music to me as the music.
It is.
I mean, we all look at like Bowie and even Prince. We just lost Prince.
Yeah.
That guy was the king of fashion, man.
Everything was so good.
Yeah,
Everything.
It's crazy how great Prince was, right?
Yeah.
And it's strange that people now are like, he was the greatest. And it was like, he was always great.
Always.
I think when you're that good, people just get used to it and it just becomes the norm. So they don't talk about it anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you forget you're seeing a complete genius because he's out there and you're like, oh yeah, Prince. And I think part of that might have to be with he was just so big on Purple Rain and everything. But after that is when I really start getting into him, like Sign of the Times and Love Sexy record.
Yeah, so good.
And Diamonds and Pearls,
Yeah.
that stuff, man.
So good.
Yeah, that guy's a king, man.
Well, I look forward to the fact that there's 2,000 unreleased tracks now.
Right.
So we'll be able to enjoy him forever. But his music is so powerful. But I played in, Roger, Morty,
Yep.
their band, the Purple Ones.
Oh, yeah.
So I did a couple of gigs with them, which was really fun. And those songs are hard. Like Get Off.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a hard song to sing.
Yeah.
I like to listen to it over and over.
Yeah, right. He's like 22 positions in a one night stand. And he's got all these different characters. Get off.
I know. And it's like the inflection and the way the lyrics are, it's almost serves like a drums, like it's like the
syncopated.
percussive. Yeah. It's so good. It's so hard.
I was watching a clip of him last night singing Cream. And it was on at MTV Unplugged. It was like an outtake.
Yeah.
And it's just him in an acoustic. It almost looked fake. It's so effortless for him. He's like, Cream, get on top. And you're just like, wow, look, how is that coming out of his mouth,
Yeah.
And his dance moves. There's a Love Sexy tour if you YouTube it, people. It's a whole concert. His moves are like, and it's funny because I say he's way better than Michael Jackson. And people are like, oh, what, But if you look at Michael, to me, he did the moonwalk, and he had like the kind of robot, the popping, robot. Prince had like hundreds of moves. You never knew what he was going to do. He didn't just, and also Michael was always one song. Prince did full shows. Michael just did TV appearances, one song, he'd come out, do it, kill, and blaze. Prince would do a 2-hour concert, jumping off piano, splits, full microphone, weird moves, kung fu kicks, guitar playing at the same time.
Yeah.
Never winded.
No.
That's why I hate when the people go, well, they lip sync because they dance so much. No, Prince is dancing his ass off. It's insane,
In
right?
heels.
In heel. Yeah, like monster stilettos.
Yeah.
I never understood how those didn't break when he jumped off pianos and
So
stuff.
incredible.
God, it's a bummer he's gone.
I can't. It doesn't compute. Like it's that little Britain joke, like computer says no.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's like no. He can't.
Yeah, the
be.
whole time you're going, it's fake. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's crazy.
It's so. It's very hard to accept it.
Yeah.
Well, the Bowie too. It's very
Bowie.
hard to. It's hard to accept it.
Yeah, I saw Bowie many times live. And it was always like, this guy was like a next level star.
Yeah.
Like there's stars that you see around town. You'll be out, like, oh, there's such and such. But with like Bowie or Prince, I met Prince once, and I try to explain to people, he doesn't go out. So to meet him, you're like, what? You know what I mean? Like he's out. Like that's the same with Bowie. He's not out. So it's been a tough year.
I know, and I just it just made me realize how much these artists mean to me. Like it goes so deep that it's really it is just a wound. Like you feel like you're wounded. It's just it sounds like sort of ridiculous, but it's true. Like their music was so integral to our lives.
Yeah. Also, I just turned 50. It's making me have like some serious panic attacks lately and stuff, which I never did before because I'm afraid of death now because I'm loving life so much as far as like doing comedy and my whole new world of this show and everything.
Yeah.
That I'm starting to freak out. Like, whoa, the end. Because most people I know die by like 60 and stuff, you know? So it's like, wow, you know? Live your life.
You have to.
Yeah.
You just never know. You just
don't.
never know. It's just so, yeah, it's just sort of, I think it's a lesson to appreciate life and enjoy it.
Yeah. It's scary, right?
It's really scary.
I'll get out of here. I'll ask you one more question here. I always am blown away by comedians that do theaters, and now some are doing arenas. And you do theaters. You did the Will Turn recently. How do you think? Because there's comics that people love, but there's a next level of theater. And how do you think you get there? Do you have to have multiple irons in the fire, like TV, movies, music, comedy?
No, I think you could just do comedy. I mean, it sort of depends. Like, one of my favorite comics is Russell Peters.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. I opened for him.
Oh, isn't he incredible?
He's incredible.
And he does arenas.
Flying around on private jets with him. I'm like, you ruined it for me.
I mean, amazing.
Yeah.
But, you know, he is somebody that has built it all on stand-up comedy.
Right.
You know, he used to open for me.
Wow. Wow.
And so he's somebody that just has done it without the sort of assistance of, like, you know, some kind of like a TV show or like a movie or whatever. He just did it with comedy. So there's just different, you know, there's different ways to do it. But I think he's my favorite example of like comedian.
But he's the only example. You know what I mean? Like, that's doing arenas that way. That's my point. It's like such a mystery to me.
Yeah.
Because there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people that listen to this show. If they all came out when I was around town, I would be a massive headliner right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think people's lives are so busy that they're like, I want to see you. I can't get out. But there's a feeling that some comics spark to where the people don't, right when the ticket goes on sale, they buy it and they're there.
Yeah.
And it's a mystery to me. And I always like to ask people how they think they got there. Of course, you're 30 years in the game. That's pretty easy to see. Over all those years, it's like Metallica. The parents tell their kids, and their kids have kids, and then they all go.
Yeah,
you know?
it's really nice. It's really, really nice.
And you're still working, so it's great, you know. But with a newer comic, I'm trying to figure out, how do you get there, you know?
Well, I think it's just a journey, you know. Like, I treat theater shows as the same as I treat like comedy shows or even like an open mic that I would do around town. Every performance has the same degree of importance that you want, that excellence every time. And so that's just how I do it. But it takes a lot of different channels now. But there's a lot of different ways that you can get there through, you know, all this different stuff on platforms on the internet that you have, and you know, it's just a journey.
Now it's kind of easier than ever, right? Because you can make your own content, put it on YouTube. You got podcasts, you got Hulu, anything. You can do your own web series,
right?
Yeah. What do you got coming up?
I have some more tour dates. Traveling. I'm going to be, I'm developing a show for Amazon about an Asian American family in the medical marijuana boom in California.
Oh yeah, they're like growing weed and stuff.
So that's a new kind of Asian family that we haven't seen before.
Wow.
And so that's cool. Doing shows. My album's out at the end of April. So
awesome.
Yeah.
And where are your shows? You got a Twitter, right?
At Margaret Cho.
Yep. And
at
Instagram?
Instagram. I'm almost never on there, but it's at Margaret_Cho because there's already a Margaret Cho.
Are you doing Snapchat?
I don't know how to do that.
I'm just starting to get into it.
People really like it. I don't know how.
Yeah. You got to get in it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You'll like it.
Yeah.
Because you can just do little Snapchats. You could have done one of you and Jerry. It probably would have got 4 billion hits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be on Comedians in Cars. So.
When is that on?
I don't know. We shot the show that in New Jersey for that. So
cool.
And then we did another thing here. So we'll see.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me at your place.
Thanks for coming over.
I'm looking forward to go. Are you going to do any shows in town? You ever do the Comedy Store?
I haven't for a while. I should.
Why don't you come by there?
I
Come
will.
on. It'd be fantastic. It's booming, man.
Yeah, I always love it there.
Man,
Okay.
that'd be so cool.
All
Come
right.
in and do 15 and rock it.
I'll come by.
Okay. Thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Thank you.
See you later.